Check it. You gotta be fresh. That's
Checking
a level.
levels.
There, I checked that level with a fresh. There
Sounds
it
like
is.
we're
I'm
going
fresh.
live.
I'm
I
in there.
think we are live.
I'm fresh.
Looks to me like we're live.
We're fresh.
Fresh live, fresh.
Fresh live, fresh live. Fresh merch, fresh merch. Fresh coffee cup, fresh coffee cup.
It looks pretty sweet.
It's a giant cup. Only $79.99. Went down $10.
Whoa, yeah.
I
We
have
moved so many of
nothing.
them.
The $80.
I don't have a drink.
What is that? You had a cube though. Was that like a
It's like a
Tesseract?
pen holder. It's like a
Oh.
little pen holder thingy.
Put
By
something-
chance, is your wife watching this recording and she could be like, hey, wait a minute. I better run something down to him.
No, not
Like
today.
last time?
No,
No?
today. This is what I was saying to you guys before we went on the air. Is I've been having some serious internet issues today, and it's all kind of come down in the last 2 hours. So I've literally spent the last 2 hours trying to repair internet issues in the house because I've set up a new one of those mesh systems. They call it like a Wi-Fi mesh system instead of one router, because we've got a lot of walls and bricks and beams that are
All the things.
keeping the internet from going up to kids' bedrooms and such. So I had set up a new system that I thought was working, and then my daughter Julie, she's got her cell phone on my plan. And last night we were sitting in bed and we got a text from her saying, I just got this message from Kudo. She burned through her 5 gig data plan within the first, what was it, 13 or 14 days of the cycle.
I thought you were gonna say minutes.
And we're like, what? Like how? So I went and I started looking, and sure enough, there's a bunch of periods where like she's got like 700 megs of data, and I'm like, how? To which she then tells me is that the internet keeps switching off in my room, and it goes to my cellular. And I'm like, how the fuck does that happen? And why am I only hearing about this now? So I'm like, it's got to be your phone. It's got to be your. And then the further I looked into it, I'm like, she's not kidding. Like it's messed up. So I've been trying to troubleshoot this, and it's been this downward spiral of frustration and anger. So I had texted you, Brent, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to make it. And then finally I'm just like...
And then I texted back saying, use your phone and all the data. So now it makes sense.
Use the force.
I know, right?
That makes sense. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Kids on the Escalator podcast, mid-season, 3/4 season WandaVision review.
Yeah.
There's Mike. He's around for a little while until the internet fries his house down.
No, if you
that's
see
Chris
flames
Machete.
in the back, yeah.
Chris Machete, hot off of another successful week of guitar lessons and madness and
Last
craziness.
night was good. Then some guy requested a Tesla song. I don't know who that was. That was awesome.
Yes, that was me.
So
and
we've
there
got
we go. Only because I have
little
only because-
Susie.
A nice tie in there, Chris, but only because I've got a member of said Tesla coming on the Brenton on Tour podcast coming up.
Tell us about that. Tell us about that.
That's coming up soon, but more important to that, that's coming down in the few weeks, and he's going to talk coffee and music and travel and all the rest of it.
Nice.
We've also got a very big guest coming on next week.
On here.
Chris on here.
Yes.
Which we're not going to reveal just yet. But
okay.
He's in a big metal band. We'll go with that.
One of my
Chris's favorites.
One of my favorites growing up, that's for sure.
But the news of the week, the real news of the week, more than anything in the planet, more than any political or Leaf win or Canucks loss or anything like that.
Or Leafs loss.
Yeah.
Is that the Brenton on Tour YouTube page has officially hit 50 subscribers.
Oh, wow. There you go. Look at that. You can get an award.
Yeah.
I like it. Cheers. Nice.
That's 50. 50. 50, not 49.
You got a plaque.
You got 50.
I'm not cool like with the 50,000 that Chris has got there, but 50.
That's awesome, buddy.
After Tesla comes on, that'll be 60.
There
so
you
I'm
go.
Very excited.
I know you're moving up.
And maybe, just maybe, people out there, the road to 1,000 between Twitter and YouTube starts. Maybe, just maybe, we can start making some goddamn money. What, like $8 a month or something?
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Hey.
Get you a couple King cans.
like
Well, coffee for you.
Yeah. Anyways, That's not really the big deal.
Comic books for me as well.
That was a funny gag from the Provincetown Woodcrafts around the corner from my house.
There you go.
Or
Mm-hmm.
YouTube actually sent it to my house. I'm trying to figure out.
Ah.
I don't know if they give plaques away for mediocrity, but
Well, look legit for me. Look legit to me. That
well,
looks
it's
like
the
the
frame.
real deal,
So,
man.
hey, Dylan Toombs, anyone's looking for a YouTube award? There you go.
Nice.
50 subscribers. I'm out. I can't go any higher than that.
Nah,
So
you
that's
might
it.
as well just
That's-
retire now.
Mic drop right
Next
there.
news of the week. Okay, we got some news of the week to cover before we get into WandaVision because a lot of shit went down. Let's start with the firing of Gina Carano.
Yeah, take that, Gina. Jeez Louise, what are you doing, Gina?
Not surprised.
Yeah, that's coming.
But it's been pretty interesting reading a lot of the back and forth on the Twitterverse, the fors and the againsts, and you know, it's personally we talked about this last year when the show was
When it started,
wrapping up.
Yeah, when she
Yeah,
started doing the
and
things.
You just it was inevitable, inevitable.
Inevitable.
It was very Thanos. It was very inevitable.
Yeah.
I had to laugh though that the big press release that came afterwards was how she had signed a picture deal with Ben Shapiro's whatever, you know. I'm sure that is a step up from Disney.
Right.
It brings up like this could go into one of those conversations that takes on a life of its own. The bottom line, I think, really is if you're working for somebody, you have to, you fall under their code of conduct.
Yeah, you represent them.
And, if you've got your own personal issues and your personal beliefs and all that stuff, just know that, as long as you're employed or under contract to said company, and if they have, I don't even know if there was a morals clause in there. I'm sure there is.
Disney with a morals clause? Depends on what side of the Disney argument you're on.
That's true. That's true. But again, it's, I'm sure I've seen it. I know Dean can talk to it. Lochlin can talk to it. That, in radio, when, you work for a company, if you go out on, after work and you do something that, comes back on you that, reflects poorly on the radio station, there's maybe not complete just cause. There may be some lawyering happening here and there, but at the end of the day, you represent that company, and if you just, hold your beliefs, maybe not publicize them, share them with your friends until you're not in said contract. And then,
Yeah, Mike. So keep the swears down, Mike.
I have talked so much shit about this podcast, but nobody sees it because I don't.
It just got
publicize
picked
it
up
on
by
Twitter.
Bell. We just got picked up by Bell Media, so we'll probably be fired.
That's great. Hang on a sec. Wait a minute. What's that? Sorry, we've already been laid off.
We've already been laid off.
Yeah,
We've already been laid off. They completely got rid of a full radio station here in Vancouver.
Man.
A full sports station.
Yeah,
Gone.
I was gonna say, and it was number 2
Number
in the market?
one, man. It's been here for 25 years.
Wow. See, I'm not.
Anyways.
Fill me in on that a bit because I'm not too aware on that, and some other people might not be as well.
Mike can spit some venom here, I'm sure, as well as Dean and Lachlan on this. But go ahead, Mike. The Coles Notes version of what.
Yeah,
just
just some
happened.
numbers and stuff like how many people
Well,
and what the
it's-
hell.
210 was the number I want to say in Toronto alone, between CTV headquarters up in Agincourt. I know my sister-in-law who works both my brother and sister-in-law work at CP24. They saw what happened. Bodies were positions were eliminated. That's the radio buzz. Your position has been eliminated. CFRB, like a lot, the talk stations went through, a massive gutting. Then TSN Radio, Vancouver, Hamilton, and what was the other one? I want to say not London, Edmonton or Winnipeg, one of those two. Anyway, there was another one of the TSN just completely flipped. Wow. So TSN 1150 becomes Bloomberg Radio, which.
Jeez.
is essentially just simulcasting the TV or running the American Bloomberg programming. It's cheap. They don't need
Stand by,
bodies.
Mike. I'm not sure who Deb and Tash are, but they've joined us. Is that Lachlan or Dean? What do we got going on there?
It's Deb and Tash.
Well, I'm not hearing
it's
audio.
Hold on. It's me. It's Lachlan.
Hey,
Oh,
buddy.
okay.
Hey, buddy.
Did I screw up?
No, you just need to assign some video to yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on here. Start the video.
There
he is.
go.
I don't know why my wife's name's on there.
Well, you can rename it. Go to the bottom corner and call yourself whatever you want, man.
Captain Fantastic.
Actually, I'm going to rename you right now. Captain Fantastic.
I can do that. For tonight, I can do that. How's my levels? I just got my new blue mic.
Oh, nice.
There you go, buddy.
Ooh.
Chris's is only a days away, and then
Yeah, mine's
Mike's are more expensive than our houses, so he's not gearing down. But anyways, we'll be blue microphone certified all the way.
Yeah.
that one looks
I
sweet.
think Blue is a sponsor of the Blondell Podcast Network.
Correct.
Is part of the reason why I ended up getting one today. So
Nice.
Now, one thing about those headphones there, I think actually you want to warp them around, buddy, and you get a more comfortable fit on those ones. We're all on the same ones here. Yeah, these Mix Fives. They're pretty
Yeah.
badass.
am I wearing them wrong?
I'm not gonna get mine.
Yeah, they're pretty. Yeah, you want to go? Yeah, you're pretty much there. I think you can go around.
No,
Yeah, try it the other way.
Were they
Go the other
backwards?
way. There you go.
There
Try
you
that
go.
out.
Oh.
Whoa.
Whoa, awesome,
oh,
nice.
it's
Now you're modeling. That's what they were built for. The real.
There
left
we
and
go.
right.
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Hey, we were just talking about the news of the past couple of weeks. Mike's wasn't on last week. We touched on it briefly, LochlinCross, about the firings in radio in Toronto and stuff. We were just kind of going through a brief thing. Mike, obviously, with a history in radio, and you. So Cole's Notes version there. Lachlan, as your thoughts as to like that state of radio right now?
Well, I think for people that aren't in the business, it's always, when you hear about people getting fired, you always have immediate empathy, right? And for us, it's sort of another day in the life of radio. So I think that when you hear radio people talk about it, they may downplay it a bit. I think the issue with the Bell firings is the proximity to the Bell Let's Talk Day that they do.
Right.
So you're dealing with a company that is trying to build a brand, and it's doing it on the backs of mental health. And I'm not saying they shouldn't do it, but I'm saying they need to be criticized for the fact that they are promoting themselves as this company that thinks about mental health, and then they shit can 15% of their staff every year to appease shareholders.
Shortly after they have said "Let's Talk Day," so it's like within the
It's
week or
crazy.
2 weeks. Yeah, it's brutal.
Chris, what do you have in Kingston? What radio station do you have in Kingston? Do you
see,
have
I
do
don't-
you have a version of that up there?
We have something called K-Rock.
K-Rock is that's not
96.3.
Bell, is it?
independent, maybe?
No, is
Is
it
that
Bell?
Bell?
Oh, that's I think that's iHeart.
Is that
Isn't it?
iHeartRadio?
Or
Oh,
sorry,
that
no,
yes.
it's,
Oh,
no,
no,
chorus.
Is it
Chorus.
Chorus? Okay.
K-Rock
Chorus.
is chorus, I think.
There we go.
Okay, so like Edge 102,
we just
C-Fox.
lost, like our equivalent. We had one that was equivalent to Toronto's Edge 102, and we just lost it last summer. It just turned over to like wow, I can't remember. It turned over to like some kind of modern country channel, just one afternoon. So that was it for them.
I think
Yeah,
the worst. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lachlan.
No, you know what? Like, I've been in the business. I got my first sort of official job in radio in 1994. I went to school in 91, and I got a job in radio right away. I wouldn't necessarily count that as my first foray into radio until I got my first official job in 1994. So I've been doing this a long time, and you just sort of get used to the idea that you're probably gonna get fired at some point.
Wow.
And I have been fired. Now, what ended up happening with this business is the only companies with money in Canada, because they're raping everybody, is telecommunications companies, right? So they make all this money, and they bought up all of these media outlets. And I don't think Bell, and I could be wrong, maybe I am, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think Bell ever had any intentions of being a broadcast company, right? They bought that because they had more money than God, so they just bought it. So now they end up with this, and it becomes more of a shareholder thing than anything. And I worked there. I worked at Bell. I worked at the Bear in Edmonton before I jumped ship, and I'm doing what I'm doing now because I wanted an opportunity to do mornings, not because I wanted to leave the company. And there's pros and cons for working for a big company and a small company. The unfortunate part about it is that there's a lot of really good broadcasters out of work in this country, and it's hard to watch because they may never get back into the business again. And you can hear, like, if you listen to Dean, like he calls it the death knell of radio. I don't necessarily think it's that these firings are the death knell of radio. I think radio is still strong, and I think in certain markets and certain properties do really, really well, and they still put decent content out. My show for one of them. Anyway, but I think that it's disappointing to watch these companies that are more concerned about making sure that they're covering off dividends for their shareholders than they are concerned about the quality of the content. And I think that's what's going to hurt, because you got a bunch of people working for these companies that are just basically driving into work every day and putting in a day's work without the passion for it, because they're more concerned about dealing with the stress of the possibility of being fired, right?
And I would say most of the ones that are still around, and it actually, because I have been on both sides of it, where I've been part of the restructuring and part of the post-restructuring, where it's almost worse to still be employed, because now not only do you have to deal with the fact that, some amazing people that you've worked with got shit canned for no other reason except they were higher up on the payroll chain, or really sort of like low end, drop them off type thing. But then you're also now, which is happening with a lot of these places, is they eliminate the positions, but then 1 week, 2 weeks later, they rewrite the position to include or absorb other jobs. And so now this person who was, say, back in the old days, you'd have a music director. Well, that music director is now the assistant promotions director, who's also doing an air shift, who's also a voice track, who's now doing 4 or 5 jobs for maybe a slight bump in pay if they're lucky. And they're just sitting there waiting. They are literally waiting for the next round of cuts and hope that they get the old golden parachute where they can, then move on and
it's a good thing you got a morning show, Loch, because a lot of the staple things seem to be holding anyways, on that side of it. So kudos.
I'll say this too.
Hopefully you hold.
Brent, no, I didn't mean to cut you off.
All good.
On the television side, they never went through the consolidation that radio went through.
No.
Radio is, Mike brings up an excellent point. It's bare bones, man. It's like, it is there's hardly anybody in these radio stations anymore.
I know.
And that's been the case for years. Television, you still had guys coming in 9 o'clock in the morning, wandering around, chatting with people for an hour and a half, hitting the street, doing a streeter, filing it by 3, and they're home for dinner by 4:30, right? Like, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of fat on the bone. And the fact that television got hit pretty hard this time around on the Bell cuts doesn't surprise me at all. Now, I'm not suggesting that those people deserve to lose their jobs, but I'm just saying there are situations where there were cuts that made sense to me on the television side. But Mike is right. A lot of times what they do on the Bell side of things and the Chorus and all these major Rogers is they shit can a bunch of people, they clear a bunch of salary, and then you'll start seeing job postings in spring, right? And you know what? The best thing I ever did was I learned multiple jobs, and I just made sure that, like, I'm the music director and I'm the morning show host on my station. And that's what you got to do. You just got to make sure you know more than a couple of things.
Do you
right?
play Slayer on your show, Lachlan? Because I'd like to suggest that as part of your playlist if you're the music director. Play some Slayer. Just wake them up.
Tomorrow morning, it's raining blood.
That's
do it. It's what we're going to kick the show off with.
You know, I was just gonna say the worst thing that I've seen, and I mean, I've been out. I mean, I went full-time voice back in 2010, and I left doing drive in Hamilton, and I loved it. It was great. Wasn't a big fan of my boss at the end, but you know, that's odd. Which is an odd thing. It's an odd thing, especially if you're on air, because you know it's hard to. I joked about it when I went full-time VO. I said I used to spend day after day fighting tooth and nail with the program director. Like, I know the show that I want to do. I know this is what this works. You know, and you fight. Now I'll go into a studio and I'll have a client or a director be like, "Yeah, can you do that again?" I will do it 1,000 different ways to the end of the day, and I won't sweat it now. But back then, when I left, it was the hardest thing for me was seeing guys and girls who'd been doing this longer than I did. I got in '96. It's when I started. And you see a lot of the veterans, the old timers, who all they ever knew was radio. Their personas were so linked to their, like, you couldn't separate the real name from the fake radio name. Mm-hmm. And when they got fired, that's the scary thing, because all of a sudden they don't have an identity outside of, you know, their DJ persona. And what happens is they will get job, or they'll go looking for jobs again, and they'll take jobs, part-time gigs. You know, they'll continue to fight to get back just so they get that platform for them to be these, you know, to be these characters that they've grown up knowing. They don't know anything else. Mm-hmm. And the sad thing is when they don't, or if they don't get those jobs, that's when it gets scary. And, you know, you talk about the Bell mental health Let's Talk thing. If you don't have an identity outside of your radio persona and it's gone and you don't have that platform anymore, and you're not skilled enough to become a podcaster or a Twitch streamer or anything like that, it's a scary thing, because, man, you know, you have no identity at that point. And that's
this job can define you, and it does.
Oh yeah,
in a lot of
I have a point to that, Mike, about having skill to be a podcaster. So this is a microphone. Mm-hmm. This is my lips, and these are my friends. There's your podcast.
Well,
and everyone.
Brent,
I'm saying it's everyone. The thing is everyone's got a podcast. Sure, doing it well, I don't know. Not everyone's going to be able to do it. More of a jokey side of it. These guys are canned. They're out in the world now. I'm seeing the tweets out here in Vancouver. Guys are like, "What do we do next? How do we do this?" The radio guys are like, "Should we go on Twitch? Should we?" They have no one's guiding them, so they're throwing whatever they can against the wall to see if it's going to stick. And I'm like, you already have a voice. Todd Hancock proved that when he got canned. He walked right into the Toddcast podcast, and all of his listeners went. Mark and Chris, Mark got let go down in Windsor. They started the morning show like 3 days later. They may not have had the 100,000 people listening to them, but I'm sure they at least pulled in the first 10,000.
And there were plenty of morning talent or just straight announcers that did that when they were let go. They banded together and they did essentially their shows. And
there's not enough people though that know what you need to do to take it to the next level or take it outside of your traditional forms of radio. I worked with a broadcaster, I swear to God, who was on the air in the late 80s. And we hired this individual at this radio station that I worked at. And they had just recently been fired. I'm trying to keep the gender off of here, but they got fired. And so we put them on because of the name. And I was on location on a weekend and I tried to get this person to record a phone call through the board. And they didn't know how to phone.
Yeah.
They can do it. I don't know about you, but anytime I've done a job, I've tried to figure out all of the sort of ins and outs of that job, right? And that's why I'm doing this. I'm easing into this. I'm trying to figure out the ins and outs of this podcast thing. Dean invited me on, and I was like, I don't know how this works, so let's figure this out. All right, I got this mic. What do I do with this? Oh, you plug it into your laptop. It's a matter of doing it.
Sure.
I'm 51 years old, and I will probably get fired again in my career. And I may end up having to talk to 3 nerds on a podcast. You know what I mean? Like,
That's
Good
totally
thing you're
it.
on a giant podcasting network, and there's probably not going to be a hard time getting a gig.
I
there you
actually
go.
this morning it's funny we talk about this now. I was invited to be a sort of guest speaker at Conestoga College
Nice.
for the radio program. They were talking about my voiceover and being sort of a side hustle and that thing. But we got into the whole radio side of things because I did a bunch of years in KW. Some of the most fun I ever had was in KW. And it was tough because you see these kids, and I was one of those kids when I was going to Humber College. You know, I was that kid that had big ideas and visions of greatness. You know, I worked in Elliott Lake for my first gig because my buddy was the superintendent of the golf course up there, and I'd gone up the summer before, heard this shitty little AM radio station whose morning guys, he was just the old school. Hey, what's going on, everybody? You know,
the bells hanging in the
oh my God, it was as Rodney radio as you get. And I thought to myself, like, again, at that point, I'm 21 maybe, and I'm full of piss. I'm like, fuck, I can go up there. I can take over this town, you know? And then, you know, I'm sitting here looking at these kids, and I'm trying to say, you know, I'm trying to be positive about it, even though I know that the career, like the broadcasting field that they're going into is way different from even when I started. But at the same time, it dawned on me that they are learning a set of skills that, you know, Lochlin and I didn't need to know back then. Like if we could cut, you know, 1/4-inch reel, like that was a skill right there. But these kids now, like they know about platforms like Twitch. They know about the importance of social media. They know that it's not just literally cracking open a mic, doing a 4-hour shift, and then going home and fucking off until the next day.
Can I tell you a quick little story, Mike?
Yeah.
So I was around when Facebook wasn't a thing, and so were you.
Yes.
We had a meeting at one of the radio stations I was working at, and the program director sat us all down, and he's dealing with a bunch of veteran broadcasters, and we're all on, you know, sitting around this table, and he's like, "You guys got to get on Facebook. It's going to be huge." And the morning show guy at the time goes, just a fucking fad.
It's so true.
Within a year, he was, you got to figure this stuff out. You do. Things change. Life.
And we're live on
revolves.
Facebook tonight.
Yeah.
Lachlan, we're live
gotta
on,
evolve
on
with
the
your job.
Facebook.
You
We're live
have
on the Facebook.
you have to learn to evolve, man.
gotta.
And that guy is now he's a landscaper, right?
Yeah.
I know because he sends me notes on Facebook, ironically.
I was listening to your
About
show.
the show.
Yeah.
About
How
the
the fuck-
show.
How do I get back on radio? I got this demo deal.
Landscaper / consultant is what it is. You know, that's what it. But these kids, I mean, they do have they're coming at it from a different point of view, and I said to them like, I think it's true now is that content, if you can develop content as a broadcaster,
It's king.
you're gold. Like you have longevity, and that's why, you know, you see some of the broadcasters that did get out of radio or managed to, you know, get a decent side hustle because they realized, you know, you can't sort of keep doing what you used to do. That's not how it works, and you either adapt or you die.
That's
Captain
what
of
they
the
say.
ship, Dean Blundell.
That's what they say
Yeah.
in the movies, adapt or die.
Adapt or die.
Chris, it's time to move on to WandaVision.
Okay.
Lachlan, last time we saw you, it was 3 episodes in. We're now at 6 episodes in. We're hoping that, well, the fact that you're back tells us that you watched a few more. So that's good.
I did
And,
a little catch up on the weekend.
That's great. And Chris has
so-
got a breakdown for us. But Let's get Lachlan's take for a minute. Lachlan,
Yeah, for sure. We're here
Lachlan, what do you think so far?
educate you on it if you need any help with it or whatever. So
Well, Chris, you're gonna be the one that's gonna you're gonna see the Easter eggs and things like that. So
Yeah.
because I don't have the background, obviously, that you do.
that's okay.
But I will say this: I was annoyed after the first 3 episodes, and then the 4th episode. And again, I don't have the same reference points, but I was like, okay, this is a little X-File-ish for
Right.
me. I get a touch of that, and that now I'm intrigued.
Nice.
Now I'm 5 or 6 episodes in, and here's what I've noticed now, sitting back and evaluating it from the perspective of somebody that knows nothing about the comic book world.
Yeah, I want to hear this. Yeah.
Here's what I will say. I'm amazed at the quality of the acting.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing that jumped out at me in the last couple of episodes with Agnes and Vision and Wanda and some of the other characters, because you always have weak links. And I realize Disney has more money than God, and they can throw a lot of money at this stuff. So they're able to put together a really strong team. But for me, if you're going to convince somebody that's not into this world to watch it, that's going to help. And I was very impressed in this last episode, especially with some of the interaction between WandaVision and Agnes. I was like, this is making me believe it because of the acting and the quality of it.
Yeah. Good actors, and they're 100% committed to their roles, which are crazy.
Yeah.
Like, imagine reading that, like an actor not knowing anything of the Marvel universe and reading your script of your character, like, okay, yeah, all right, and this is all a crazy little world that Wanda's created, and you're this person. Like, oh, all right.
Yeah, no. So that's, for me, that's my biggest observation. But I'm in now. Now that it feels a little X-File-ish to me, I'm in.
Yeah,
I
I noticed.
how you were so far out.
I was
how you
angry.
were so out before. You and Dean were both. I don't know where Dean is. He's supposed to be joining us, but anyways, you were so far out after episode 3 that you were ready to come through the computer and strangle us for even bringing this into your world. And here you are in episode 6. So
I'm in.
Yeah, that's
I'm
awesome.
in. I think this show would be better if I binged it on
Yes.
a weekend.
I like watching the 3 together, like 3 episodes at a time. And it's kind of like a movie that way, right?
Yeah, because I had too much time to dwell on it.
There's a common question that we're getting. Actually, I think Dean or Lachlan, I was on with Dean and you there a couple last week, and I think the idea was, why are the episodes so short? And I could only think the fact that it's because they're kind of built like comic books. Chris, what's your thoughts?
Well, the
on
next
why
3
they're
are going to
so
be an hour, apparently, right? The next 3 episodes are going to be an hour each.
An hour each.
And the next ones are. So I don't know if it was a COVID thing, 'cause this was filmed, I think, during a rough time too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm amazed at how well they're keeping some secrets in there of some people that are going to be appearing, because we still don't know who our big bad guy is. And it's not going to be like Frank from, the waiter of some show. He's going to be somebody big. Like the main villain's going to be played by somebody pretty cool, I'm thinking. So and they've kept that a secret pretty well, which is good. One thing that I did want to divulge that I was talking to Brent about is that Pietro Quicksilver is only on for that one episode. He was just supposed to be on the holiday Halloween special. So all the people that thought that he was the main villain disguised, that's not going to happen. That's it for him. He was only in for one day of filming. And that's how I found this out, was an interview with Kat Dennings saying that Pietro, the actor, whoever, I can't remember his name, but he was only in for one day of filming, and it was a fun day, and we did this and that. And so that's it for him. So he's definitely not the main villain. A couple other options we could pick for that, but if anybody was thinking that's not going to happen. And then the other thing was the army guy, Hayward there from Sword. There was thoughts that maybe he could be the main villain as well, but he's just an army douchebag. You have to have one, right? You have to have the government douchebag in there, and that's who he is. You could see in the one scene where Wanda went to steal Vision back, that Vision was being turned into a weapon, and they had parts of Ultron there as well. So it looked like they were combining Ultron and Vision together to make this weapon for Sword. And wow, Wanda did not want that, and she went in there and took everything out, right? Which was really, really decent. So that's just so many little cool things going on in those episodes. I could go on forever, but
What do we think of Lachlan? Do you have any favorite characters right now, or what do you think of Vision right now? Vision's role in this?
I like him, actually. I was annoyed that he was British. Like, why do we need a British guy? It's the same thing when I tune into a local radio station, there's a Brit guy on, right? Like, why? Why do we need that? Was that something that like if I go to Australia, are they going to give me a job because I have a different accent? Yeah. No. We're enamored with accents, and no, but I've learned to appreciate Vision because I think he's one of the stronger characters in the show for me. And I
started very subtly. He's kind of coming around now, and I like his reduced role in this show so far. I think he's got a very reduced background role. Chris, I don't know if that's
he doesn't know what's going on. He's a pawn, and he's just about to not become a pawn. You know, he's just breaking out of his pawn status. He's discovered he can actually reach in these people's heads and figure out who they are and what kind of how they're feeling. And the other one theory that I heard that was pretty cool, and I don't think it's true, was that all the people in this city are dead and she resurrected them. But I don't think that's true. But what a wild theory that would have been, right? If these were all like dead people and she resurrected them. But no, because they all have other lives. Because you hear them saying, "Oh no, I got to go." It almost sounds like they came out of the snap or the blip. Like when Vision pulls them out, it's so close to that. And the funny thing, Lachlan, you mentioned is that so many people connected to this story as soon as the snap came in. When people were coming back from the Infinity Snap, that's when so many viewers like, oh man, and everything just kind of went like this, zing. Oh, okay, I get it now.
Lining up.
That I get it now. This is what kind of show this is what's happening. And then the more it filled in the gaps was like, wow, I wonder what happened to Wanda, right? Like I wonder what happened to her since this happened. And it's funny because we mentioned this at the beginning, all the things that did happen to her. She had everything bad. She lost her family, she lost her brother, and then she lost Vision, and then he was going to be turned into a weapon. And here's the funny thing that she mentions too: when I was at my lowest low, my biggest point of despair, that's the last thing I remember. Well, classically, when does the devil come in and offer a person a deal? When at their very lowest, because that's when they know they can talk that person to any kind of deal. So again, signaling at who the villain could be. And there was rumors about Keanu Reeves playing Mephisto or Nightmare. Now, the other thing I want to point out to you guys is how many times they say, we have to stop this nightmare. Wow, we kill Wanda, then we end this nightmare. Nightmare. He's a villain. He's a huge villain who is like Freddy Krueger, who attacks you when you're sleeping. Starting to make sense now, right? So he's probably the second tier villain, I'm thinking. And above him will be somebody else, possibly Mephisto. Now, the funny thing, too, that people are talking about online is that if Disney goes the way of using Satan, Mephisto as their villain, there's a lot of countries that will not accept that. They will just not play the movie because Satan or Mephisto's in there. But wow,
the nerd on my show, Jimmy, he mentioned that.
Right. So but it's looking like it's Mephisto, but maybe they will go the way of and just it's Nightmare, and that's it, and that is the main villain. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of balls Disney had, what balls kind of Mickey has strolling into this situation, right? Like if Mickey's gonna be like, no, you know what, it's the devil, damn it. Put it here, put it there. That's how I envision Mickey talking.
Sorry.
Mike, you're back from the internet voting on you again.
No, it's I think it was the snowstorm that we got here. We had a power outage that just went.
Where are you, Mike?
I'm in Brantford,
okay.
Gretzky land,
yeah,
Gretzkyville.
Right. There you go.
I played
I
hockey.
blame Wayne Gretzky for everything. I think he holds the key to the city and the power. He holds everything and anything. He's Wanda. I think he's there.
He is, yeah.
Doing that. Mike, what are your thoughts on episodes 4, 5, and 6 before we get to
you know what? It really did pick up. I mean, to what Lachlan was saying, the first 3 episodes, I liked them because it was different and I was familiar enough with, the whole backstory with Wanda and Vision. Not so much, really not nearly as dialed in as you are, Chris. I was not much of a Vision Scarlet Witch reader. So all this stuff with this Mephisto and Nightmare, I had no clue. So it's been pretty interesting hearing from you, from somebody who's read it, and also, you know, looking online and seeing some of these potential, you know, theories of
Yeah.
Mephisto and
You
Nightmare.
saw Pietro's not coming back, right? Like that's it for him.
Yeah,
You heard me, yeah, because he looked like he was going to possibly be the villain, right? But nope.
No, but which to me, that so far has been like, that was the equivalent to the Luke Skywalker in Mandalorian.
What a great character Pietro is in that. Like that is so funny.
And I love the fact that
They'll
they
bring him
brought
back somewhere.
Evan Peters in,
Yeah.
because he was great in the X-Men movies.
Yes.
Like his portrayal of Quicksilver was really good.
Mhm.
I really was hoping when they did that shot of him from behind when she opens up the door, I really thought that they were going to play Time in a Bottle.
Oh, that would have been great, huh?
As a throwback to the movie.
Yeah.
I like where they're going. I did hear that they're going to 1 hour episodes for the last 3, which is pretty cool because they are leading into Doctor Strange. Now, you were saying that if Nightmare is the baddie and they don't go with Mephisto for, you know, devil reasons, does this potentially open up, like we talked way back, maybe they do sort of combine the two stories with Nightmare and having Dormammu from the original Doctor Strange be the big baddie that's controlling all this stuff, sort of to tie them all in together, because Nightmare, he was part of the whole Doctor Strange comic, was he not?
Yeah, he's one of his main arch villains. He was actually supposed to be in the first movie.
So that's all gonna
but it was too dark.
sync together.
So Nightmare was supposed to be the first villain, but he was they thought it was too dark to start that way, right?
Okay.
So bringing in, but the thing about Nightmares, he's usually the second tier. You know what I mean? To have him be high up. There's another one though, the Grim Reaper. Now here's just another thing I'm going to throw at you. You know when the dog ate the leaves and died? Now in the comic book there was a dog too, and this dog dug up bones in the backyard, and it was the Grim Reaper's bones, and he brought the Grim Reaper back to life. And there's a little Easter egg in episode 4, I think it is, or is it 3, where the cartoon at the beginning goes between the floors, and the Grim Reaper's helmet's in there. Like, yeah, I saw this on another.
That's really, I think that's deep. I mean, that's really deep.
But there's so many. This is the thing.
Well, the first episode, the bottle of wine was apparently Maison de Miserie or whatever, which was, you know, House of Misery, House of M. So, yeah,
everyone's freaking out about the Easter eggs.
Like, and there's so many.
How familiar are you with the universe?
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
I'm talking about in general, though. You've watched Iron Man. Have you watched
Grim Reapers?
I've watched Iron Man.
Have you watched any of the other Marvel movies?
Like, I mean, we're Deadpool and Iron Man. That's about it.
Okay.
I love Deadpool.
I didn't get into. I watched Aquaman. But yeah, I'm not.
So Chris, you got some Easter eggs there, but do you have some Easter eggs that you could pull in for Lachlan that he might be like, wow, that's cool. That would be like, you know,
I am
for somebody
oddly attracted to Agnes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she's. I know, right? Like I got the same thing. I love the way she acts. I think she's stealing the show. Well, you know, she's a witch.
She totally is.
Her character her character in the story is Agatha Harkness in the comic books, and that's who she's definitely Agatha Harkness. Now, one thing I want to point out about Agnes, and this goes back to my Grim Reaper theory here, is that she had that gem on with the Grim Reaper on it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the little insignia.
Yeah, sorry, my microphone was in front. So she had the deal on there. When Vision was talking to her when she was in her car there, it was gone. And when she woke up, she was grabbing for it like this. So if you go back and watch, she's and it's gone. It's not there anymore, which is very strange. So Agnes is definitely, and it's funny too. So if you take the first 2 letters of Agatha and the last letters of Harkness, you get Agnes. So she's Agatha Harkness. And in the comic book, she's a very, very popular witch. But she could be evil or she could be bad, depending on what's in her best interest. In the comic book, she was sent to help train Wanda. She was sent to help Wanda and help her look after her twins. And that's where they found out that Wanda just created them. You didn't really know this in the comic book until it was kind of revealed. It's like, wait a minute, when Wanda leaves the house, the twins disappear. So it was a little different in the comic book, right? But in the comic book, the twins, the whole purpose was to fill empty parts of Mephisto's soul. So that's why they were so Wanda was let's just break this down. Wanda is being manipulated. So follow me here.
Mike's
Follow me
head
here.
spinning, which is great.
I know. So follow me here. Check this out. Okay. So we have Wanda. She is being manipulated by the Grim Reaper to have these kids. Everybody's put to sleep by this creature Nightmare, all to get the 2 kids' souls to help the higher Lord Mephisto, because he's missing 2 pieces of his soul. That's this is huge. This is like a great big storyline. And if this happens, then you guys owe me a beer. Because
all I'm thinking right now is that if that's the plan, Disney's really concerned about Deadpool 3 being full of F-bombs like this. I think this is a little more.
Hold on, back up.
Know.
Can I ask about that?
Yeah.
Disney, didn't they create a separate wing and throw Deadpool over there so that they can sort of have some separation between the potential R-rated material that's coming out? Because that's what I heard, and that's why
that'd be smart. That'd be a good way.
That's why, like, it was going to be like Lucasfilms, and they deal with the R-rated content because they don't want to change the sort of success template for Deadpool, and Deadpool would be like the figurehead of that department. Am I wrong, or am I making?
I don't know. I don't know a lot of the business.
I hadn't heard that, but I mean, it would make complete sense. Although,
because I don't want Deadpool to change.
No,
I love
nobody
that
does.
franchise.
Oh God, they can't do that.
Ryan Reynolds wouldn't let that happen. There's no way.
How much power does he have?
He
the
is
last guy that tried to
Deadpool, man.
change it.
He's Deadpool.
He fired the last guy. The last guy wanted to change the feel of Deadpool, and he was like, "You're gone."
He's the Hugh Jackman of Wolverine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Hugh Jackman controlled Wolverine. He bought into the movie character.
Like that, eh?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that when the characters and the talent drive it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you know that Ryan Reynolds had the best intentions.
Yeah, for the character, and him himself. He had so many. He does the character proper, because Deadpool's got a lot of layers. He's not just like like a dirty Spider-Man who's quipping all the time. You know what I mean? There's a lot more to him and a lot more motivation, and they showed that, which was really great. And his battle, what he fights though, the battle scenes in Deadpool. The first one, the highway scene, was just mind-blowing, and the way
first Deadpool was just
is flawless. Like,
it changed.
Good.
It changed comic book movies for me. Right after, I think there's only 2 movies I've felt over the last 20 years where I'm like, wow, and that was The Dark Knight and Deadpool. Mm-hmm. And Logan, I loved Logan. I loved the texture.
Yeah, I just watched that again as well.
But how Dark Knight changed, like when I was watching that, going, this is a comic book movie. And I'm partial because I'm a DC guy, but I was like, this is unbelievable. Now, obviously, Endgame was amazing, and then when you look back on the body of work, I think it's great. But Deadpool, that first Deadpool,
and how he willed it into existence in itself.
What's the story on that? I'm curious about that.
Well, he shot that initial fight scene, the shoot scene. He had shot something rough and leaked it onto the internet and got people talking about it. Now, I don't know how far along they were at that point, whether or not there was a deal in place, but that all of a sudden got people talking. And I know, they go back to that whole X-Men Origins Wolverine, where Deadpool was just an awful, awful character. Which I'm glad he got to sort of resolve that.
Yeah, at the end there, right? Like at the end of that movie,
it's the greatness about having an actor who's involved in a franchise, who knows the franchise, believes in the franchise, and wants to deliver it to the fans of that franchise in the most honest and truthful way. What X-Men Wolverine, the X-Men Origins movie did was crap. And, it was a paycheck. Maybe he thought it was going to be something different. But the fact that he stuck with it, and you got Deadpool, which was brilliant. Deadpool 2 was okay. I thought it had its moments. I didn't think it was as strong as the first one.
I didn't hate it. I liked it.
No, I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I didn't like the casting for Cable. As I mentioned that before. I didn't think Cable was cast right. He should have just stuck with Thanos. He was an amazing Thanos, Josh Brolin. Cable, he wasn't big enough. It just didn't work for me. Did not work for me. But we talked about that before.
And what are they going to do? Gina Carano, she can't come back to Deadpool, can she?
No, it's funny too because she played a really minor character from the comic book,
Okay.
like same as Teenage Negasonic Warhead. She's a very minor character in the comic book. I actually have her first issue though, which has now gone up like a lot, and it was in the dollar bins before, right? So, but
Chris, sell.
Yeah, I know, right? But the reason they were using all these side characters before is because they didn't own a ton of them. Like on the other side, who owned it? Who was owning that? Fox. So they had some big one. They didn't know what they were doing over there, man. Now they've got like, wow, I can't believe like all the characters that are going to come out of WandaVision alone. And we called this from the beginning.
I was going to sort of lead into that. Now they've alluded to Dr. Reed Richards.
Yeah, I could get into that. So yeah, check this out, dude. So they're
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Fantastic Four. So Reed Richards. So
you guys are amazing.
Hayward is talking to Monica, all right? Monica Rambeau. Okay, follow me here, Mike. Check this out. So, and Monica's like, okay, you're going to send me into space. And Hayward says, no, we've lost astronauts in the blip. So there's some astronauts out there that are stuck out in space.
What's the difference between the blip and the snap? I'm sorry.
No, it's same thing. It's just what we call it the snap. They call it the blip in the movie. Same thing. Okay. So what this guy is saying, Hayward is saying from S.W.O.R.D., is that we lost some astronauts in the blip out there. Exactly what happened to the Fantastic Four. Now, if Reed Richards shows up, because he is an astromechanic or astrophysics, then he's not talking about them. Now, another one that could show up, not to cut you off here, Mike, but I know this one really well because I researched it. The other one that could show up is an X-Man. I don't know if you guys remember Beast, Hank McCoy. He's another one that could show up, or it could just be her saying he's an astro. It could be like her code name for Doctor Strange. I think I drank with
Beast at a bar in the north end of Edmonton.
Seriously? The actor, right?
Probably, because they filmed it there.
No.
I'm kidding.
You just wonder what he would fit in there, though, right? Just wandered in like, hey, how's it going, guys?
But the thing about, like, even just that minor little hint in that episode caused the internet to explode, like from the nerdy comic guys.
Right.
Because all of a sudden they're like, oh, it's Reed Richards, the Fantastic Four. And then John Krasinski's name gets thrown around.
That's been for so long,
the
too.
New Reed Richards. Yeah. And you've got these people that are designing fan art, like just incredible things. Again, it's almost like the audience is willing these actors and these characters into these movies.
The investment is huge.
Oh yeah, there's so much money they're going to make off.
That's what I find so interesting about it, because we do daily segments on our show with Jimmy, who is the little person on our show, is a big nerd from Star Wars to everything. But we do these daily hits, nerd news, Star Wars news, and we this morning we touched on Jared Leto possibly showing up as the Joker in the next.
He is.
Help me out here, Chris.
Yeah,
it's Justice League.
The Justice League, the Snyder cut, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyway, and the text lines just go, they go crazy. Like, and people have the scenarios and the reasons why, and that's what I find interesting is always the storylines. I love the fact that you guys told me about Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds sort of putting that franchise on his back right from the beginning. I thought he was sort of plucked out of whatever and put in there. No, to me, that's awesome. That's a great story.
It's a Canadian. He's Canadian. Like the Deadpool, the character is Canadian as well, right? And I think he's from the same area, possibly. Yeah. So
the city that rhymes with fun. Remember?
He's all over it too. And the funny thing too is in the comic books, Wolverine and Deadpool have this kind of thing going on, and Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds have they brought it into real life, kind of.
It's fucking awesome.
It isn't it good? Yeah, they're good dudes.
The commercials. They broke the fourth wall.
The coffee commercials and the gin commercials are just, it's brilliant. It goes back to our conversation earlier about content. Yeah. I mean, that's what Ryan Reynolds is brilliant at content.
Well, when you own it, though, here's the thing. So why are we talking about the success of The Mandalorian? It's because the people in charge of The Mandalorian get it and have been given permission to do whatever they want. Really, honestly, within the universe. And in WandaVision, like, obviously there's a vision, no pun intended, but there's a vision there to take it wherever they want to go. There was a story before we move to trivia time, there was a story about a couple years ago when Kevin Smith was asked to write the new Superman movie. And so we had this whole thing, and it was going to be the greatest, if it's coming from Kevin Smith, it's like Chris writing it. So it's like, it would have been this great story arc. But then the producer, Stevens, came up to him and was like, whatever happens, he's got to fight a giant spider.
Yeah, robotic spider. Big,
and they're like,
giant
wait a minute,
robotic
what the fuck
spider.
you mean a giant robotic spider? He goes, he's got whatever he does. Like the producers from they've owned this thing. Whatever he does, he's got to fight a giant spider. And he's like, okay. And then of course Kevin turned into an ass and was like, does he have laser eyes and all this shit? And they went to this whole thing. And then of course the movie got canned. And so the next movie that came out that guy produced was The Wild Wild West. And who do they fight at the end of that movie?
Giant
fucking
mechanical
spider.
spider. He got his mechanical
and it
spider.
was supposed to be in Superman. Thankfully, when they did Superman Returns and they did all that stuff,
Great story.
He also wanted a gay R2-D2, right? Like that's what he wanted. He wanted a gay. That's what he said to Kevin Smith. I want a gay R2-D2.
So anyways,
Why is
it's
that
trivia
funny?
time. Chris has got, okay, we'll get into predictions of
Wow.
where we think it's going to go in a minute. There are 3-hour episodes coming up. Mike, you sticking for a minute or you got a jet?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay,
We've got an
Hey!
hour at least. Yeah.
Lock, Chris has got some trivia.
Oh my gosh, we do.
Hey, hold on. I'm not going to do well at trivia.
That's
And-
okay.
and
But
me-
I told him to make it,
Oh, these are super easy.
take it down a notch.
Jesus,
these are
that's-
pretty
I'm gonna
easy, buddy.
Disappoint you guys.
Okay, well,
Okay,
let me
sorry,
see
Locke,
here.
what's your favorite hockey team?
I cheer for the Oilers now,
Ooh.
but I grew up in BC and I was a Vancouver Canucks fan
Sure.
as a kid.
I'm here
And
now.
I also had a father who despised the Montreal Canadiens, so I sort of adapted that.
Okay.
Right.
So my hockey lineage is based on my moving around the country is very, very complicated. But I've grown to hate the Habs, and that's probably even more so than my dad. And that's probably my definition of a hockey fan is my hatred for the Habs more than anything.
That's awesome.
There's 3 kind of Leaf fans: the ones who get it, the ones who don't, and the Hab fan.
Ah.
That's it. Because there's the one Leaf fan that, and I'm a Leaf fan, but there's the one that are like, nothing they do is wrong. Everything they do is the greatest thing in the history of things. Yeah, but they, no, it's the great. And then there's the other one that's like, oh, they got a pretty good team and it's going to be entertaining to watch, which I think we all probably category. And then there's the Hab fan. Those are the 3 kind of Leaf fans. So we'll throw some hockey trivia in for you too, just to keep it.
The
rolling.
hardest thing, or the most interesting thing about moving to Edmonton was the pure hatred for Vancouver. Like it is palatable here.
I have a question. I have a story for you then. Keep going.
Yeah, when I was in Winnipeg, I was surprised at the diversity of the fans. Like you would run into somebody in the bar and you could go around from table to table and everybody would have a different favorite team. In Edmonton, I mean, you cheer for the Oilers here. And then I thought, well, okay, well, the Flames, everybody will hate. Yeah, they hate the Flames. And there's definite disdain for the Calgary franchise. But there is pure hatred for Canucks fans. Which
Let me give you a
is
story about Canuck in Vancouver for 1 second. I have to touch on this because we talked about the TSN 1040 going down. That's the first sports station I got when I got out here. It was great. Everyone was on it. I'm sure you know all the guys. Don Taylor, Pratt, all these guys were on it. It was a great station to listen to. But the disdain for Toronto was like nothing I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not talking about the Leafs. I am talking about the city. And I was minorly offended when I moved here. I'm like, what the fuck's everyone's problem with us? And then I realized that the West has never, or that Canada's never really needed the West to vote to determine who the prime minister is until about 2005 when I moved out here. Because up until that point, if you won Yonge Street, you're the prime minister. That's just the way it went. So then all the stories I kept getting hit with were like, well, they don't pay attention to us out in the West, so fuck them. And that was where it went. And then really, I boiled it down a little bit further down to the fact that Hockey Night in Canada never showed Canucks games. So they only ever showed Toronto Maple Leaf games ever in the Habs. And they're like, well, it's nationwide and everyone loves Toronto. It's like being out here and saying that we all love the Raptors or we all love something. It's like, no, we aren't the North. We're the fucking West and you're the East. And that's kind of how it went. And I could see that hatred between them because the hatred for like, they don't hate, like Vancouverites don't hate Edmonton and Calgary, but they hate Toronto. But then Toronto, like Edmonton hates Vancouver. It's a funny divide. And you've been all through those markets, Loch in the West, so I'm sure you've felt it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I started my career in Vancouver because I was going to school there, and then I made my way all the way to Winnipeg, and I bounced around Western Canada. So yeah, you get a really the football conversation is interesting too, right? Because you end up in
Seattle.
in Vancouver, like no one went to CFL games. Man, my God, you go to Winnipeg, you go to Edmonton, man, this whole city lives for CFL. It's awesome. It's so cool to see. And then there's that massive hatred between Regina and Winnipeg fans. And yeah, so it's
Edmonton. Yeah, it's great.
And Edmonton as well. Yeah.
And I think everyone just wants it all to come back now. But anyways.
That's the big thing. We have seasons tickets, and we sit up in the cheap seats and drink beer with everybody. And that was the biggest thing from last year that we missed was the Friday night football games. Yeah.
Trivia time, Chris. What you got? What do you got, buddy?
Holy cow. Okay.
Last time Mike wiped my ass with the Star Wars.
Well, these are
trivia,
pretty
so-
easy. Okay. Lachlan, I'm going to give you... Lachlan, check this one out. Okay. The version of Pietro, Quicksilver, that's in Scarlet Witch. Okay?
Brother.
The brother of Scarlet Witch who's in there, Pietro, the crazy guy who runs really quick. He's from a franchise outside of Marvel. Okay? Now, what superhero franchise did he come from? X-Men, Fantastic Four, or Venom?
Fantastic Four?
No. X-Men.
Okay.
That's a guess.
We could have had somebody steal.
Okay. Yeah, steal away. Yes.
But every time Mike steals, he dances and then
It's a whole thing.
He kind of throws her in your face.
It's a whole thing.
I do the wedding dance, you know.
Mike,
Take those old records off the shelf.
All right, let's go. What do you
do
got?
what you do, Mike. You need to
What do you got, Chris?
Okay, Mike, you ready for one, buddy?
All right.
Mike, a younger version of Monica Rambeau is in the Marvel movie Captain Marvel. True or false?
That is very true.
Yeah, you got that. There you go.
Yes.
You
And
got that one.
they did sort of allude to the fact that her and Captain Marvel ain't on exactly the best of terms.
Right.
Which will be interesting to see how that plays into Captain Marvel 2.
So many little threads to pull on. It's crazy.
Not to mention there's a debate going on whether Captain Marvel could beat Superman, but that's for another thing.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Okay, Brent, you ready?
Sure.
All right. What other Marvel movie series was Kat Dennings in? Darcy. Was it Spider-Man? Was it Captain Marvel? Or was it Thor?
It was Thor.
It was. You got it. Good job. Holy cow.
Yeah, she's the...
Holy cow.
What
Good
was the
job.
show that she was on? She was on some TV show.
Two Broke Girls.
Two Broke Girls. That's it. Yeah, okay.
That's it. There we go.
And she was also in 40-Year-Old Virgin. I remember her from
she
that.
And she also broke the internet when they had one of those iPhone leaks.
Oh, was she part of the Fappening?
That's where I know her from.
That's where
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, Chris, you don't know what that is? Well,
No, I have no
All
idea.
of a sudden,
I saw some side
Google it.
boob.
it was a thing a while ago.
side
To
boob.
Google it. Okay, well, there's our quick quiz right there. There it is.
That's it.
Yeah,
That
that's
was the
it. It was just a
quiz?
quick one. I thought it was. I was gonna
Damn
have.
it, I lost.
Well, no, I thought I was gonna have it Lachlan against Dean here at first, right? Because to see which of the guys that didn't know that much about it got the winning thing there. So yeah,
Dean would have killed me.
Oh, Woody, I didn't know that. Okay, I thought that
Well,
maybe you guys
he
would have.
watches way more of this stuff than I do, right?
okay.
Like, I think he's, yeah. From the conversations we've had.
Right.
Because
Lachlan, we'll let you guys go soon here. What predictions? Where do you want to see it go? Give me the prediction of.
Yeah, where would
somebody
you
that
like
doesn't
to
ha-
see it go? Not
where do you
where
wanna
do
see
you
this
think it's
go?
going to go? Where do you want to see Scarlet Witch go there? Where the show? What would you like to see?
Well, I mean, I don't hate the idea that they're doing the hour-long episodes, like you guys have mentioned. I think that'll because I found it hard to stay invested with the 30 minutes. It just seemed too quick for me. From somebody who I'm not seeing the Easter eggs. I'm just watching the storyline.
Yeah.
So I'm just paying attention to how it's developing. And again, I brought it up earlier with the X-Files thing. I like the fact that there's this group behind the outside of the walls that's trying to penetrate what she's created, and it has that kind of feel for me. So, and because I was a huge X-Files fan when I was a kid, so I watched all those shows and the Scully and Mulder and that, to me, I like that storyline. So whenever they're behind the scenes doing that, that's kind of cool to me. So if they can continue to do that, I don't know enough about the backstory to know where because Chris and even Jimmy keeps bringing up the potential evil person or the
Magneto.
Magneto
or Nightmare or Mephisto or there's
Keanu Reeves came up on the show and we talked about it last week.
Mephisto, he could be playing him.
So I don't know enough about it, but if Keanu Reeves is thrown into it, I love him too.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing when we're having a conversation about the Joker. We get into a conversation on our show. We don't get into the weeds on the Joker. We get into who did a better job, Jared Leto or Keanu, or not, or
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger or Joaquin. Although I will throw this at you, Jared Leto, Heath Ledger. The nerd on the show, Jimmy, said that Jared Leto's performance as the Joker is comparable to Heath Ledger, and both Grant and I were like, "What?"
No.
I didn't. Okay,
you got to like Jared Leto first to agree with that.
Well, Jared Leto was only in a little bit of the movie where you had Heath Ledger was basically the star of the movie, right?
Yeah. But I think the Justice League Leto that they're coming out, they are moving into this new kind of they had to do a bunch of reshoots and stuff for the Justice League. It's going to be a 4-hour-long movie. Yeah. And they did a bunch of reshoots to tie into Snyder's cut, of which they cut a whole bunch of, they filmed a whole bunch of new Joker stuff, of which he's not the little punk that was, with the spiky hair and everything. It's a different approach that he's inside.
Not the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it's
Joker.
a different one.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I didn't like the grills. Well, they were saying that one might even be the Jason Todd Robin with the grills,
right?
With
in
the
that
tattoos.
one. So,
that might not even have been the real Joker, because the Joker. What happens in the comic books is the Joker kills the second Robin, Jason Todd, and Jason Todd takes over the mantle of the Joker for a while. There, he the Red Hood. He does the whole. He goes crazy. Yeah, so he basically kills Robin, but not really. You know what I mean? Everybody comes back in comic books, right? So the Joker beats him to death with a crowbar.
Never dead.
No, but it's a wild comic book, man, and it shows the Joker just for a whole page just swinging on Robin, man, and then it blows the building up, and Batman's walking out with him in his arms. Batman thinks he's dead. He's not really dead. He comes back as the Joker. So that's what they're saying, that maybe that Jared Leto with the grills it wasn't even the real Joker. It was this Jason Todd. So who knows? I wasn't even
watching any of the other Suicide Squad other than Margot Robbie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Hard not to watch. Yeah. Holy shit. She's stunning. Yeah.
My son just discovered Wolf of Wall Street not too long ago.
And he hasn't stopped watching it.
He's got a new career coming up, has he?
Big fan.
There's the Christmas point. There's
the picture from the comic book. That was great.
There's a dead Robin. That
was impactful. That's some good writing in that. Every once in a while you get these comic books that the writing is just mind-blowing, and you're like, why didn't they make a movie out of this? And now they are, right? The subject matter and the stories that they have to choose from in Marvel and DC is ridiculous. There's so much to choose from.
You know what's a really well-written comic book? Skeletron. Anyways, moving on. Chris's comic, Skeletron.
Thank you.
Okay, Mike, where do you think it's going, buddy?
Or where would you like it to go, Mike? No, where would you like it to go?
All roads lead to Doctor Strange.
Yes.
So at some point we will see. I'm hoping we see Benedict Cumberbatch show up as Doctor Strange.
Was he good?
Yeah.
Because we kind of made fun of him. Was he? Okay.
He was excellent.
He did a really good job.
I thought he was. Yeah, I like him as an actor. I thought he was decent as Khan in the Star Trek remake when they did that one.
Yeah.
I thought he was.
Yeah.
But
tasks me.
Of all those other sort of the smaller Marvel Universe films, kind of like Ant-Man, I loved Ant-Man.
Yeah.
That one surprised me. Guardians of the Galaxy was a nice surprise, and I thought Doctor Strange was actually really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And his portrayal of Doctor Strange played really nicely off of Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark. So I liked that sort of interplay. So I'm looking forward to seeing him show up at some point. I hope they reveal the big baddie.
Who do you want
sooner
to
than
see to
later.
be the villain, Mike? Who would you, if
Well,
you could pick it? Who would you pick?
I'm down with Keanu Reeves. I will,
I agree.
I'll pay money to see that. Give me another John Wick film.
Right.
Like I'll take
Oh,
anything.
I
Keanu
love
at
the
this
John
point.
Wick films.
Fantastic.
Can you imagine though? Can you imagine if Marvel pulls off Keanu Reeves being the main villain and just hiding the fact that he is? Like, whoa, like if nobody know, like all of a sudden we get to like the 8th, or the 9th episode, and it's like, okay, Keanu Reeves is the major villain and he's going on to the Doctor Strange movie. And everybody's like, how do you keep that if they could pull this off? This is, again, I think I mentioned this earlier. We don't know who the main villain is. You usually hear who the actor is that's going to play, or the actress. You usually at least hear that. We haven't heard anything. And the only reason we heard the Quicksilver one is because the language...
The voice actor.
Yeah, the voice actor spilled
that's-
that Quicksilver
oh,
was going to
man.
be on there. So they've still kept secret who the main villain actor or actress is going to be. So that's pretty exciting. And way to go. Like, way to keep that a secret, man.
Dude who did the Spanish translation of Quicksilver,
He slipped it.
Dumbass, you sign an NDA for a reason. I don't care if you're doing it in Swahili. You don't promote the fact that, hey, I did Quicksilver from X-Men in this upcoming WandaVision.
Well, guess he's gonna be in the movie.
He won't work very much anymore after something like that.
No.
I do want to see. I really do want to see them flesh out Monica Rambeau a little bit. I love the sexual tension between Jimmy and
Jimmy was awesome.
Darcy. I think that's the new Marvel hot couple there.
Very cool.
Jimmy Woo's hilarious. He's hilarious.
I like Jimmy Woo.
He's funny.
Does anybody remember what movie he was in before of the Marvel series?
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man 2.
He was in Ant-Man.
Ant-Man 2.
Yeah, it's I like how I like the presentation of it. Paul Bettany is great as Vision. He's the one character that isn't going to live, which is unfortunate because I really do like him again as an actor. And Brent, here you go. This is one of those sort of weird tie-ins to all that we talked about tonight.
Is it Wayne Gretzky?
No, what do I have in common with both Vision and the Joker?
Wait a minute. Hold on. What do you have in common with the Vision and the Joker?
Vision and the Joker.
Voiceover stuff?
Very good.
There we
What,
go.
you voiced them?
I'm actually a vetted Joker through Warner Brothers in DC.
Wow.
Like a bunch of years ago,
Let's
I
hear
did
your
a
Joker. Let's hear it.
Well, no. My Joker is a cross between Cesar Romero and Mark Hamill.
Cool.
So, and it's just a lot
Those are
of
the two
laughing
best
and that.
Jokers.
Yeah, I love those guys. A bunch of years ago, I got
Voice
a gig
jokers.
as, and at the time I didn't know what it was. It was just they were looking for a Joker and a Batman for some amusement thing, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So I ended up getting it, but I had to get vetted by Warner Brothers in DC, DC Comics, to actually do the role to get approval on it. So, which I thought was pretty cool. Ended up, it was one of those. You ever go to like a Dave and Buster's or some sort of like a Chuck E. Cheese where they've got laser mazes, where you go into a room, you have to like avoid the lasers, and you've got 5 minutes to hit buttons on the wall and stuff like that. Well, it was for one of these. It was the Batman and Joker laser maze that initially started at Adventure Dome at Circus in Las Vegas. So inside their little mini amusement park in the casino, which I still, if you've never been to Circus, if you go to Vegas, just go there just to see like the absolute bizarreness of it all. It's like it's as low budget a casino as you can get, but it's the only casino I've ever seen where they've got machines and then like a whole amusement park for the kids to run around right behind the casino, slots and all that. So anyway, yeah, it was
and everything. It's bizarre.
Nice.
yeah. So it was they had it running in there. So when I went to Vegas, not long after it opened, it was kind of bizarre because it was a pretty big, display and like my voice is jokering all over the place. So that was pretty wild. And the Vision, I was the voice of Vision for another Vegas thing. They had the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum at the Venetian. They had a whole Marvel, I don't know if it's still there or not, but they had a whole Marvel Universe display. And I was the Vision voice of sort of the pre-show and the startup of the show.
Bettany? Did you do it?
I did it as Paul Bettany, like a weak ass Paul Bettany. I did it as like if I was a jock in Canada now trying to get a radio gig on air, I would do like a fake British accent just to be cool.
Just to get on the radio.
And to get hired.
It'll get you on the radio.
That's it.
Yeah.
So that's my connection to Vision.
Right.
I'm a vetted Joker, and
That's
I
where you
guess
wanted
I'm
to
a
go.
vetted Vision. So
Well, he's gonna die. I want it to go.
We'll see.
He's gonna
We'll
die.
see.
I want it to go. I can't wait to watch Wanda get evil as shit. So I want to see where that's going. Chris, you predicted some evil coming from her. I want that.
For sure. Yeah.
I want to find out what they swallowed up when she pushed the whole wall forward. Because
What
I
they
know she
swallowed
turned
up.
towns. I'm saying she turned towns like she pushed
It's
it
like
further than
there's
Yeah,
radiation.
It's expanding.
Westview.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering, is there like after she did that, is there like all this new shit that's going to come out of her pushing
you
it
see all
forward?
that circus, all
Yeah.
the clowns and stuff. Which
I'm
like,
just
what
wondering
decade
if,
are they
like,
in now?
I'm wondering if there's like
Apparently,
I have a
it's
something
prediction.
Modern
that's going to come
Family.
out of that.
I have a
And-
prediction on it.
Yeah.
Huh?
I think that her expansion is going to weaken her
Oh,
and show some vulnerability,
Oh.
and it's going to be the way in
nice.
for something.
Let's book
Makes
this shit
sense.
right now, Lachlan. With the
There you
hot
go.
take.
Yeah, we like the
That's-
predictions.
Look at this guy. You see,
Hot take.
when I told Lachlan that the other day, I said, we want you to come back on. We're going to bring you up to speed on, or we want to get your take on it. You know, he could have blown it off. But the guy
That's true,
I was
man.
tweeting, he was like, well, I'm into Agnes now. I'm like, well, he's fucking watching it now. So look at this. We've challenged him. We're bringing him in. We'll get you there. Don't
We
worry.
will.
You'll be
We
having
will
your
get
own
there.
nerd podcast in no
I'll
time.
get there. I enjoy you guys. I find
enjoy you.
highly entertaining.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
We're not really as nerdy as you would think.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, like,
no,
we
but
were
I tell
close.
people, just so you know, I tell people I'm on the nerd podcast.
That's right.
fine.
That's
Yeah,
all
I
right.
just- yeah.
Badge of honor.
I know you guys don't mind it because
don't at all.
We wear it with a badge of honor, man. Nerds
Yeah.
run.
I've got a 16-year-old who tells me constantly that I'm not cool, so it's all good. I'm
Oh
used to it.
God!
And then obviously
I'm
I wanna
literally
know
the
where-
Phil Dunphy in my house.
So speaking of, so we'll wrap up here. But speaking of that, so we've had these intros, right? We've had the Leave It to Beaver, we've had the Dream of Jeannie, we've had the '70s like
Malcolm in the Middle was the last one, I
Malcolm in the
guess.
Middle. Do we have predictions on what the next intros are going to
Yeah.
be?
It's, what did I just say there? The one and yeah, Modern Family. You just
Well, I think
mentioned with
Modern
Dunphy
Family
there.
for sure, but there's got to be one before Modern Family because
Oh.
it's Malcolm in the Middle was late '90s.
Right.
Now we're going to be into that 2000 and the 2010 period, or
Roseanne?
2000. No,
Nah,
that was 80s and 90s. What was
Well,
after?
what's a property that Disney?
What was
Disney
big after
owns?
Malcolm in the Middle? What
Wouldn't
was
be
big?
Because I mean,
Friends, would
Disney
it?
bought
No.
Disney bought Fox, right? So that Malcolm in the Middle makes sense.
That makes
'cause
sense.
that was a Fox property.
Mm-hmm.
So who like Married with Children?
No,
Oh, no,
that
that
was-
Oh, come
that was
on.
before.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I have
That
a Married
would
with
be.
Children comic book, man.
and Vision, Wanda and
But they can't. It's got to go in
Vision.
order. So now it's like from Malcolm in the Middle. Obviously, it makes sense. It's going to be probably Modern Family in there,
Well,
but there's got to be. I
Modern
think, one
Family's been
before
around for what? Can anybody quickly check when Modern Family was released?
2005, 6 or 7, probably, right?
What about Curb Your
Wonder Years too
Enthusiasm?
old.
Oh
Wonder Years
yeah,
is older.
yeah. Wonder Years would be too old, but that's a great show. That's a great show. Yeah, Wonder
wondering
Years
if
is
it would be something like
80s.
I was going to say, I was wondering if it would be something like Friends or something.
Okay,
they do-
2009.
Can they do
is when it
Friends?
started. That's what I
So
thought if they did
2009,
Friends,
So
right?
there's a lot between 99 and 2008. There had to have been something big in there. And then Modern Family could be the next one. And then the third episode could be the new intro for whatever
Was
this is.
Seinfeld Fox?
Yeah, but Seinfeld was 89, right?
That's old too.
So it's got to be from 1999.
So Malcolm in the Middle was the year 2000. That's when
So
it's
it's
Oh,
gotta
started.
be-
okay, so
it's
it's
gotta be-
after Malcolm in the Middle.
So and Modern Family is 2009. So that's what I read online that it was going to
Right.
be. I read some things that I'm not revealing here. Like I actually read the
Oh,
whole
okay.
synopsis of the episode,
Okay.
and it
there
sounds
we
like
go.
it's going to be right because it was. I can't spoil
Well, let's.
it.
I want to go with Lachlan's prediction because I think if you get it, buddy, then you're in. If you got that prediction right, you are in.
I like it. I like it.
And if they
Into
do
the
if-
realm.
if they do Modern Family, does that
Mm-hmm.
mean that Wanda gets her accent back?
Ooh, I don't know.
Because her accent's been nowhere
No.
since.
When she
That's
got and
right.
then she got mad, right? She was so cool looking when she got mad. And her outfit is exactly the same color as Magneto's outfit too, which I don't know if everybody knows. She went a little more purple in this episode with her outfit, and it's the same color as Magneto's, which I kind of know because
Hey, Chris, what was the kick-axe thing that everybody was talking
Kick
about? Because
ass.
I totally... Oh, kick-ass.
kick
sorry.
ass. So the funny thing about that, Lachlan, is it's a
thinking
movie
band.
from Image Comics.
I've seen it, but I didn't know what the connection was between WandaVision and
Okay,
and that
so
show.
so the Quicksilver that was in the WandaVision show is
Yeah.
in Kick-Axe, and the guy who played Quicksilver in the Avengers movie, a different guy because it was a different property, right? He was in the Kick-Axe movie too. They were both in the Kick-Ass movie. So both actors that played Quicksilver were in there.
Okay.
So Kick-Ass,
Oh.
Kick-Ass, yeah.
Kick-ass.
Kick-ass. That was a
On a
decent...
side note,
That was a good
Lachlan,
movie. I like that. The little girl was amazing in Kick-Ass,
Chloe
right?
Moretz, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, she's amazing.
And Nick
Lachlan-
Cage was in it, so
He
you
was,
know
and
it's
then
good.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
If you want to go with a trivia question here, Lachlan, then since you said kick-axe, quick, name a kick-axe song. Go.
Oh, shit.
That's not it.
I got
Three.
one.
I got one.
I got the album too.
This is for our friends Todd and Brent Fitz, occasional co-hosts from
Oh, my
Slash's
God.
band.
I can't believe I'm...
da.
The music
Da-da-da-da.
trivia, I'm screwing it up.
Dun,
Hey, you got to help me out. I'm
On the
totally
road to
gapping.
rock.
On the road.
I'm
We
going with
have-
heavy metal shuffle. Thank you very much.
Okay.
to rock.
We have a show on our weekends, Saturdays, where we do nothing but metal and
Nice.
hair from
Nice.
like noon till 6. And I had to put in a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, we have to put in some kick-axe. So I remember about 4, 5, 6 months ago, we were putting in a couple of kick-axe tunes. Well, we play everything from Wasp to
Nice.
If you
Oh,
name it,
I
yeah.
Want to Be Somebody is one of my favorite songs from back in the day. I
Well,
Want to Be Somebody is a great
A
song.
few people on this panel could definitely program that for you as well. So
I will call you guys I'll send you a note for suggestions on songs.
Love it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right,
yeah,
so that's the
Metal for
WandaVision
breakfast.
preview with our friend Lachlan. Lachlan, Mike, everybody tell us what you're doing, where we can find you, all the things. Lachlan, go ahead, buddy.
95.7 Cruise FM, the locker room, Monday to Friday. We also release a podcast, but I also jump on every Tuesday. And sometimes if we're bored, we do another one. But I'm on the Dean Blundell Roundtable, which is how I've sort of eased my way into this podcast world and how I met you, fine gentlemen, as well.
Nice.
So, yes,
Awesome,
outside
man.
of
Happy to
that,
have you.
modeling career has fallen a little bit short.
Don't give up, brother. Don't give up.
Mike P.
I'm here. I'm working in my little booth here. You know,
We're
closed
very
caption.
excited that you have-
Closed captioning is brought to you in part by Advil 12 Hour.
Oh.
When the pain says you can't, Advil says you can. Advil and go.
And the whiskey says you will keep doing it.
That's
If
it. My life is it again. This is killer. I mean, I spent so many years in a production studio, having to record, 15-second weather tags that were 30 seconds in length of copy because the sales guy couldn't, convince the client that it was too long. That's my life now. My life is now reading 15 and 6-second tags, but I am not complaining. It's
So why don't you do one for?
Can I
Yeah, go
interrupt
ahead.
here quickly? Oh my God, Mike, thank you. I had
Lachlan knows he's been
somebody
there.
commented recently in our building about my ability at voiceover, and I'm not suggesting I'm good at it, but they were saying to me, the program director said, well, the production staff doesn't think that you take the time to read the copy. And I went, what the fuck are you talking about? They give me a 30-second spot to get in fucking 15 seconds. What do you
exactly
expect me to do?
If there's any skill that I did take with me, because the one thing when I went full time, and they always said, like, if you're gonna do this for real, you got to lose the radio. And I mean, fortunately for me, I wasn't on the air as much as I was in production, so I didn't have a whole lot of affectation to
habits.
get rid of.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, the greatest thing I ever got was having to do all these, 15-second spots or 30-second spots that were 45 seconds in because I can spit that shit out in no time. And they're like, wow, and it's legible too. And I'm like, yeah, man. Like, car commercials, bah. Disclaimers, bah.
Liquor
Mike,
stores.
why don't you cover the mic in front of you and then cut us a blue microphone promo for the Kids on the Escalator podcast?
Hey, if there's one thing that I don't do anymore, I don't ad lib. I just read the copy that's in front of me, man. That's it.
Yeah, you know what? That's interesting because and pardon my ignorance on that scenario, but when Mike's done all the intros for all the different series of the podcasts that I've done, including this one, and the Journey for Java and all this stuff, he's done them all. But he's like, send me some copy, and I'm like, you want me to? I'm like,
oh yeah.
Not that I took it for granted, but I'm like, you don't just come up with something. He's like, no, send me some copy, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta write something now. What am I gonna do? And then he puts it together, and here we are. So what a job you've done. So thank you for that.
I was a copywriter a long time ago, and if I have to, I still do. But another thing I learned early on is that when I would go into sessions and I would get copy that was kind of shitty, I'd so badly want to comment on it and suggest, hey, maybe we could just, like, have you thought of, but that's a no because they're not paying me to be the copywriter. The copywriter is sitting, 2 seats over on their BlackBerry, just, trying to justify being at the session. I just, man, I read, I'm Ron Burgundy. I will read what's on the teleprompter.
Scotch.
I'm Ron Burgundy. Like, that's me.
Amazing.
I will say, go fuck yourself, San Diego. As long as I get paid. That's it.
Pay me, play me.
Thanks, gentlemen, for
Yes.
joining us this week.
Thanks,
on
boys.
The WandaVision recap of the. We'll gather again in 3 more weeks, I guess. And
Yeah,
that's
we'll
poised
finish
to
it
be a
off.
very big episode, Michael.
Sounds good. Oh,
Or
I
it's
can't
poised
wait.
to be. We have some
I
guests.
enjoy you
lined
guys.
up.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks,
see you,
Lachlan. Come
buddy.
back
Take care,
anytime, everybody.
Lachlan.
That's Lachlan Cross. That's Michael.
See you, Mike. Good to
Congrats.
see you again, buddy.
Awesome
Peace
to
out.
see you. Be well. Wow, another one in the books. Now I could wrap it right now with 1 minute to spare, but hey, you know what? We'll just keep going for a second because we covered off some shit there. Wow, right?
I got so
WandaVision.
much more to talk about. Yeah. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna do a pre-recorded episode for the weekend, and I'm gonna.
Amazing.
I got pages here, pages of stuff that I really need to talk about, get off my chest, and some awesome little Easter eggs and things. So I'm gonna do a pre-recorded deal, but we also have some new video games being played on our channel, right?
Yeah, so Alex dropped in last night after Chris's guitar lessons and played some Battlefront. It was kind of cool listening to him narrate that. So you guys can check that out on Twitch. He's messing around. I also added NHL 20 to the mix the other day.
Nice.
Still trying to get used to the controller setup. I was pretty good on the smart controller before on NHL 12 and NHL 16, but 20 I've kind of re-entered into it, and I built up a 3-0 lead the other night against the Montreal Canadiens and lost 4-3 in OT. So I've made my debut on video games that didn't go very well. We're playing some stuff on Twitch. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm playing on NHL 20. I'm doing both. I have my Toronto Maple Leafs team, which is just like the team they're using now, except for I'm on there. Chris Machete's on there.
Wicked.
Yeah, and we are 4-0 though. I have lost all 4 games in that season. I'll have to post some. The other one I'm having fun with though is where it's create a character or career, and I'm just my player. I don't control any other people but myself. And when I'm not on the ice, I hit the button and it'll fast forward it. And I actually played through my junior career here in Kingston, right? And then I got drafted by the LA Kings.
Yeah.
Yep. Then I got drafted by the LA Kings, and then I demanded a trade because they're just pissing me off, man. I didn't like being on. Yeah, like it's just, so they traded. Yeah, they traded me to Boston. I just got the trade. I'm on Boston now.
Wow.
So, but I'm on. So check out my line though, buddy. So I'm center. I got Marchand on one side, and I got Pasternak on the other side. So I basically got traded for or filling in for. Oh, jeez.
Marchand.
No, the center. Chara.
No, yeah, I know.
I can't. He's one of my favorite players. I can't. Bergeron.
Bergeron.
So I don't know if he got. But the cool thing about when you're playing the mode that I'm doing is you play San Jose and it's like, whoa, they traded for Ovechkin. He's on that team. So it's like Bizarro World NHL, and I'm having a lot of fun playing that one. That's the create a player.
Yeah, you're doing that on PS on PlayStation, yeah.
PlayStation 4.
So are you? So with the Xbox, you can go with like NHL 94 buttons.
Yes, you can
go
do that on
A,
ours
B,
as well. Yeah.
A, B. So are you playing that, or are you playing the?
No, I'm
smart
pro,
controller?
dude. I got pro. I'm pro. I'm playing the pro level. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
What level are you guys playing on?
Well, I've started. I mean, I would normally be all the way, but controller wise, definitely like NHL 12, 14, and 16. I was killing the smart controller. I was all over it, but I hadn't played it for a few years because it just sometimes they release like 15 and it wasn't as good as 14. It didn't flow as good, or they changed something. So I was off it for a few years. I'm back on 20. So now I'm just trying to get used to the controller again.
Yeah.
So I've had to start with NHL 94 settings with Rat Alex because we just kind of just getting him into the field. But I'm trying to slowly bring myself back into the smart controller, which, you know, just takes a lot of time to do. But yeah, once we get there, we'll play.
Yeah, I find the Xbox controllers really large and clunky, huh? Like, just compared,
that's all I've used. So
remember back the Nintendo, the Nintendo NES ones. That's what Lonnie and I were playing with when we're doing our retro gaming, right? And they're just tiny.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's been a lot of fun with that. Speaking of Rat Alex, he did a little promo for us today, dressed as Captain America. So go check that out.
That's
on our Twitter
really rad.
and beyond. Yeah, fun stuff. Thanks to everybody for checking that out. That made him pretty happy. Plus, he went live last night playing Battlefront, and that was pretty exciting for him.
Keep him going, man.
I'm live. So
we're turning into like a channel now, man. It's not just like a show or like an episode. It's like we got stuff going on
Twitch.
Monday nights, on Tuesday nights. We've got our Friday night retro that we got to get back into. Last Friday night, I apologize. Sometimes we schedule things and we don't realize what's coming up. We have that coming up soon too, don't we? We're not doing a Tuesday. We're gonna do a different night, right?
Yeah, I think next week.
Is it next week? We should mention that, huh?
Let me just double check here on the dates.
I thought it was the week after.
No, it's going to be next week.
Oh, wow.
Somebody you know's got a little
Somebody's getting effing old around here.
Yeah, somebody's going to turn a year older. So there might be a plan to do some stuff around that time.
24th.
So the 24th. So next week we're going to go on Wednesday night with a very huge guest, which I think we can we're going to let the cat out of the bag. I think we're going to do it like an announcement together, Chris. We'll just do a special broadcast before you get into WandaVision on the weekend. We'll do this again and say, all right, everyone pay attention. Tune in Wednesday. This person's coming. So
sounds good.
On
a side note,
giant band. Great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, big guest coming up. It's going to be amazing. On a side note, looking at the calendar, February is almost over. What the hell? Whoa.
And we're into March. You know what? I was over in Europe at this time last year, and it was this whole thing going on was like,
yeah, I was just
kind of a thing.
You were just starting to get sick.
So they say. Yeah. That's what they said. But I was approaching one of my favorite cities close. I was in Helsinki last year on my birthday. Or actually, I went to Estonia. The guys on tour took me on an island, and I was as close to Russia as I've ever been. It was very interesting. But we went there. But that part of the Scandinavia is always fun to be. But it's very cold this time of year, of course. So that's where I was this time last year. And then March, and the next thing you know, we'll be back into. You'll be back into cutting the grass. And
I can't wait. Let's get out. And I want to do some gardening, plant some trees, get my weed growing. Got some good stuff.
So you should be getting a delivery any minute.
Yeah, Thursday. Yeah, I'm excited about that from the blue thing.
One of these. So
I'll cut a commercial in my my Spaceballs helmet there.
Yeah.
Do my thing with my glasses on. It'll be an awesome commercial. They'll like it.
So we have to thank our friends over at deanblundell.com for
always,
hosting us, as always.
And it's because that's where all the cool shit happens.
All of it. And they just dropped a promo yesterday of everybody in their tidy little over the Dean Blundell letters. And there's a lot of people there, and it's growing and growing and growing, and some killer content coming out of there. Lots of shit going on every single day of the week. So head over there, check it out. So thanks to them. Thanks to our friends. I'm going to say it now at Blue Microphones.
There you go.
Right here, as of next week, Chris will be able to say it too. But right now, half this podcast is sponsored by Blue Microphones.
Half of it. I'm getting there though. Don't worry.
MX5. Chris will get his shipment any day. What do you got there, Chris? Who do you shout outs? What do you got
Well,
there?
I got my, almost got issue 2 done in the comic book. I don't want to go into detail about how hard it is to make your own comic book, but I'm
Sure.
learning, and that's why I want to do this by myself at first. But it's coming. It's almost there. We're very, very close. There's so much other things we're working on. I've got my workshop coming up with the Canadian Kingston Film Festival. And then I just was asked to do the Kingston Historical Heritage Society one as well. So I've got a couple comic book workshops coming up. And the cool thing about these are, especially the Kingston Film Festival one, is that if you're anywhere around the world, man, you can sign up to this and take my course. It's, Lonnie's a 2-hour course, I believe? 2-hour course, online Zoom, and it's $20.
I think it's going to be killer, and it's going to be a great way to learn. And you're going to do now. I don't want to give anything away, but
But you got to give away those tickets too, right?
No, we're going to give those away next Wednesday on this giant
okay.
episode.
Sorry.
Next Wednesday on the 24th is 2 days before the beginning of the festival. It's perfect timing. We're going to give away passes.
Mm-hmm.
So what you got to do to win is you got to share our shit and you got to tag us.
There you go.
It's as simple as that. The person who shares, likes, tags us the most is going to win these passes to the Canadian Film Festival.
Who's going to look online and check that? I guess Lonnie is, right? Our
no,
producer.
we're going to get tagged. I mean, we're going to get tagged. If you do,
who's going to count? I get lost on there. It's like I get tagged, and I'm checking and it's gone, and I don't know what.
See.
And
we'll know.
We'll just know.
We'll know. We'll know who it's going to be because
we'll know by the private pictures you send us.
Plus, I'm trying to get Chris booked on another comic book podcast here shortly, so we're going to see if that's going to come to fruition. There's lots of stuff where you can find us. Plus this nice mug.
Yeah,
you can buy that shit.
Make sure you give us a thumbs up and a subscribe if you can. That'd be cool. That helps us. Thumbs up and subscribing. It's a good thing to do.
Big time. Okay, that's a wrap for this week. Join us next week on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday the 24th. We are moving to the 24th.
Just for that.
Giant guest.
Yeah, we got a big guest. We'll tell you soon.
Chris is going to be back this weekend with a ton of shit. He's going to do another WandaVision breakdown.
Yes.
And then we're going to announce our guest for Wednesday. And we're also going to give away a whole bunch of shit on Wednesday as well. So come back next Wednesday.
Yay! Stoked!
Kids on the escalator. Everybody, thanks, Dean Blundell. Blue microphones. Lonnie on the ones and the twos. Thank you, Lonnie.